There is a legend that whispers its way through the winds of Hollow's Peak, a story told in the glow of campfires, in hushed tones, by those who claim to know someone who knew someone who saw it. It is the story of a figure known only as the Silent Protector. No one knows the Protector's real name, where they come from, or even what they look like. But the people of the Peak? They know the silent promise that the Protector has kept for generations. No harm will touch the small, rugged town lying cradled at the mountain's base. Not while they are watching. In the silence and shadows, the Protector watches, a guardian unseen yet ever present, ensuring the safety of Hollow's Peak. The first tale of the Silent Protector dates back nearly 200 years, when Hollow's Peak was still a mining town. Bandits from neighboring regions had targeted the mine's rich veins of silver, harrowing the townsfolk with theft and sometimes worse. The sheriff sought help from the law, but help never came. The town was too remote, its troubles too insignificant to those sitting safe in their larger cities. That should have been the end of Hollow's Peak, consigned to the ash heap of forgotten history. But then, the Silent Protector appeared. It happened during the height of the raids. One of the miners, and every telling of the story changes their name, claimed he was on the night watch, guarding the narrow pass leading into Hollow's Peak. The bandits came, as they always did, their torches like snakes slithering in the dark, and as the miner sounded the alarm and prepared for the worst, a shadow moved faster than the human eye could follow. Before anyone could react, the bandits were no longer advancing. They were scattering, racing back into the wilderness as if a demon itself had barred their path. The townsfolk found a single bandana left behind by the leader of the gang, pinned to the ground with a dagger none of them recognized. The dagger wasn't ornate, rugged, sharp, and practical, clearly meant for use and not for show, but attached to it was a small emblem carved into the hilt. At first glance, it seemed like scribbled marks, but as days passed, they saw it in other places, above the sheriff's post, by the mine's entrance, and even carved in faint lines upon the stockades used to guard the fort, the emblem of the Protector. The bandits never returned, but while the town celebrated their savior, no one seemed to know who had carved the marks or left that dagger. And when they began to speculate, they quickly realized something chilling. No one local fit the description that guards whispered. That of a shadow echoing footsteps, an unseen force toying with the flame of their lanterns. Whoever or whatever the Silent Protector was, it wasn't someone ordinary. Life returned to normal in Hollow's Peak, but only briefly. Years later, a tycoon from a neighboring county swept in, intent on buying up every mine in sight. When the miners refused, he brought his own private army to take what he wanted. They came with weapons, doubling the size of the town's population in mercenaries alone. This time, the townsfolk believed they were doomed. But then came the second miracle. It didn't happen with sudden violence or a standoff fit for a storybook. No, the Silent Protector didn't confront the army. Instead, fear worked on their behalf. The tycoon's entourage began to report strange happenings. Wagons filled with supplies tipped over on seemingly smooth terrain. Firearms disappeared from tents only to be discovered shattered to pieces in the woods. Guards who wandered too far from camp swore that something followed them, something that didn't breathe or speak, but watched through sheer weight of presence. On the third night, the tycoon woke to find his personal flagpole severed and lying across the entrance to his tent. Slashed into the fabric of the flag was that same emblem, squared and unmoving in its simplicity. By dawn, the tycoon's hired army was gone. The Protector acted without violence, relying instead on something far older and more effective. Fear. Hollow's Peak was safe once again. Centuries passed, and yet the Silent Protector continued to brim to life through myth and encounters that no one could fully quantify. Farmers reported fences mended by unseen hands. Travelers lost on mountain passes claimed that a figure guided them back to safety before vanishing in the mist. And though there were no official sites or words caught this modern day, still those reminded Formha.